Center for Worker Justice.
Okay.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one. And thank you for...
When my brother, Tavis, held up two papers, one a letter from the leader of the Republican National Committee, one from the leader of the Democratic National Committee. These were words from persons who are a part of the liars, the deceivers, who have promised us. And what I said in my few minutes, you're not dealing with the real powers. That man can give you a promise that he can't fulfill because there are powers behind him that can undermine anything that he says. Go to the White House and get a promise from the president. He's not the power in America. He's a front man for power. So when you don't know who you're dealing with, you take the lies and deceit of these people into your heart. I am telling you, Black America, don't you believe the false promises of your former slave masters and their children. And that's why the Bible says we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness that is in high places. And none of us are sitting down with those boys that pull those strings. So any promise made by anyone else, don't pay it any mind.
All right. Welcome once again to the Beatzilla PDX official show. I am your host, Beatzilla PDX officially, and this is the midweek report. And tonight we are talking about the election 2024 and your choices. And one of your choices had the opportunity to finally have some time with media that is not particularly friendly or would offer softball questions and chances. But today, Kamala Harris had to go have a little visit with Fox News. And there's been some clips to air online, which now I believe, you will see the CNNs and the MSNBCs try to spin this in a certain way. And try to say, well, yeah, she was using certain words and was getting these talking points in front of the Fox News audience. Those talking points don't move the Fox News audience. None of what you're going to say is going to move them, and nothing she could repeat. And again, if you're talking about that Fox News crowd, they weren't really listening to her for any type of rhetoric against Trump in the first place. So they wouldn't have really even gravitated towards it. So that's wishful thinking on their parts to try to go with that narrative, but they themselves know that's not true. But I guess it's to get the voters to believe that that's a sham. But who knows? But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our topic of discussion this evening. If you could, as you're coming in, please hit the like button, hit that share button, subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. And if you're watching on X, make sure you come over here to the beatzillapdx official YouTube channel and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, hit the word all. That way you'll be notified anytime this channel goes live or a video is uploaded or premieres, as they already have this week. So if you're only watching on X, and this is the first video that you have seen this week, well, then you're a little bit behind. Uh-oh, let me check something. All right, it appears that I'm back. Hopefully the sound is cool, but nonetheless, I'm saying, also you could join this channel, become a member. You can support that way by hitting the join button. But like I was saying, if you're a member, you might see some of these videos earlier. But if you're on X and you're not seeing all of the videos, it's because you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel, and you need to come over here to YouTube and subscribe. So again, that's beatzillapdx official over here on YouTube. And with that being said, I would like to send an extra shout out to the members and the subscribers. We have made it over to 2,000 folks now. So salute to all of you who are checking out this, might be new here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching and liking and sharing. And then also to the faithful members that have been here for a few years. Excuse me. Salute to all of you. Thank you for being here. And also shout out to the members. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here as well to the members. And of course, this is a news break. So, this is not technically live, although it looks like it's airing live. It is not. It is a tape delay, but nonetheless, we are here. You're here. And so that's all we need to make this happen. So let's go ahead and get into it. Peace, power, blessings, and protection be upon each and every one of you tuning in right now. Now, with that being said, this interview might have went under the radar because so many people didn't pay any attention to it, when it happened. And notice I can totally understand why that happened. But Dana Bash had a conversation with James Clyburn. And this is before Barack Obama's conversation with black men. So this is from sometime last week, maybe like a day before, I believe. Like a day before Barack opened his mouth. Or State of the Union. So this actually might have been last Sunday. Because isn't that when State of the Union comes on? So going into the week to where they knew they were going to start targeting black men, they first actually talked to this guy, your favorite sharecropper, James Clyburn. The opponent to our good brother Marcel Dixon, by the way, who is running against him again this year. So, for those of you in South Carolina, you guys want to make a change, it is time to get our brother Marcel Dixon elected. Greg Marcel Dixon. Make sure you guys go and if you're in South Carolina, make sure you vote for Greg Marcel Dixon and make some changes down there. He's been wanting to do some things, and he's been an advocate here. Been a voice over here in this new black media space and a voice in this political space. So salute to our good brother, Marcel Dixon. Shout out to that brother. And so, like I said, this video kind of went under the radar. And so to make sure that we get the full scope of what we actually saw over the week of these different antics, we understand the grassroots, the voices of new black media consistently amplified the fact that black folks ain't rocking with the Democrats like that no more. What they're trying to do now is make it a Kamala Harris issue alone. We have our issues with Kamala Harris, but we also have our problems with the DNC as a whole. We have our problems with the Congressional Black Caucus. There's a lot that the Black America has to address politically with these folks. So the Democrat Party as a whole, if you have a policy that says have a meeting with them but give them nothing, oh, there's some business we have to discuss. If you want us to go further with you, that's only logical. But nonetheless, I want to play I'm going to play this interview here. And hopefully you guys can.
Thank you so much for being here. You just heard Donald Trump making his appeal to black men quite explicit. Your friend, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, who you campaigned with in Michigan, says that the message she's hearing from black men is, quote, Democrats take us for granted. Donald Trump talks to us directly. Are you concerned about black men voting for Trump or staying home?
Here's another thing I want to point out to you guys. Have you realized that in the grassroots, this new black media, we have literally made the couch. The couch is legitimately a candidate, ladies and gentlemen. The couch is legitimately a candidate. Think about that. They have to mention the couch when they're talking about this election. The couch is part of the conversation. Ain't that something? You guys, something. You tangibles people. You tangibles people. How about that now? Y'all are floundering. Y'all go, boy, after this Fox News thing drop, y'all gonna really have to figure out something.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, I am concerned about black men staying home or voting for Trump. But my concerns don't tend to keep me from being energetic about this campaign. Because I was in Michigan campaigning with Debbie last weekend. I thought our swing through Michigan was very, very effective. I met with black men. I met with black religious leaders. I met with black union leaders.
What black union leaders did you meet with? Black union leaders. What, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, what black union? What black unions is he talking about? I remember when the hip hoppers, when the rap artists and a lot of the black music labels at the time was trying to establish a rappers union. I think the last label out of that meeting is now pretty much met its end by hands of the government. You ran off Russell Simmons, ran off Haitian Jack, locked up was some of them, the newer cats was a Treyway and all of them. They all gone. Before them, Murder Inc. You tried to. I mean, there was cases. Y'all remember this? They was running up, bum rushing these people's offices, seizing things. Y'all remember? Black labels have been getting done like this. And it's always, oh yeah, they're tired of some explicit business. They're tired of street business. Look at how they're throwing Jam Master Jay under the bus. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, for those, fairly old enough and in the know, you kind of know what time it was. So, when we hear it, it's not like, It's not a newsflash. But nonetheless, you got to pay attention and see, like, what did they do? They got these groups, these labels out the paint. And then, real quick, the Super Bowl. My issue is not at all with Kendrick Lamar. Not at all, because Kendrick Lamar from the West Coast. But the thing that's being overlooked here with not having like a Lil Wayne, or there's another person, Master P. These two labels out of New Orleans represent Black entrepreneurship like crazy. Matter of fact, some of them events were even helping Jay-Z at one time. So, you think about, dang, you think it's New Orleans and it's not, let's do a tribute to New Orleans? I totally get Kendrick Lamar. But it just seems to me, and then on the flip side of things, where's the LGBTQ community? Because there's a whole Super Bowl going to New Orleans. Even the straight rappers give Big Frida their due. All that bounce music, that's Big Frida first. Before Manny Fresh and all of these people, that's Big Frida. That sound comes from that person. That's why they look at them like a legend. So I'm just wondering, wouldn't that be a great demonstration of, number one, Black excellence, number two, Black entrepreneurship, number three, foundational Black American excellence? Oh, maybe we have found the problem. Just had to sidebar real quick with that, because it just, it's one thing that pops in your mind. It's like, But anyway, let's hear some more what he got to say. Oh, by the way, fair use.
Quite frankly, I think we had very frank and direct discussions, and I don't see and feel what I'm reading about in news reports.
You definitely not going to feel that with the people you spoke to. You spoke to preachers. All of them preachers are D9ers, just like you, and Q dogs. What's your excuse for this dude? Omega Sci-Fi. This your man? Just saying, really? Wow.
Yes, Black men, like everybody else, want to know exactly what I can expect from Harris administration, and I've been very direct with them. And I've also contrasted that with what they can expect from the Trump administration. We will expect in his administration.
That makes no sense. Nobody over there in Trumpville is promoting Project 2025 as an agenda. They just keep throwing it out there. Matter of fact, everything like for Trump's real speeches, you're not hearing anything relative or even partly attached to that. And so they keep repeating it. And that's a problem. Because here's another thing. Y'all gonna keep saying this until y'all blue in the face. We know it's a lie. And not only that, though, you're making Project 2025 as valuable to the American public as HR 40 has been to you. It's just a phrase to repeat. That's all it is. It's just something to repeat. There's nothing. Project 2025, Project 2025. And he's trying to stoke fear, but fear Project 2025. You can't have it both ways. You keep trying to take people over here. Oh, don't be, it's going to be joy and love. But if you go over there, it's going to be fear and fire and furnaces. Come on, man. Oh, but that guy is trying to instill fear into the people. But if you go vote for him, you're going to definitely be thrown up in camps. I mean, come on, man. At some point, we have to look at that hypocrisy and call it what it is. Hypocrisy. And this woman's a bad candidate. And now the other thing that they're doing is, what do they say? Well, Trump is hiding. Trump has been out in over 50 different events. Kamala Harris went over 40 days without a press conference. And now that she has finally stuck her head out the door, all of a sudden they're trying to take the approach of, yeah, you know, he doesn't want to debate no more. He's hiding. What he's scared. See, he's scared. I think after today, that scared conversation might go out the window. I'm assuming after today, a lot of this is you're gonna see a lot of reworking, and I don't know. You got 20 days to recover in your messaging. And I see it as an impossible task. Number one, you should have just bet on New Black Media in the first place, because we were telling you what the voices of the people were saying. But you didn't hear us. Now who you have a problem with? Oh, those same voices. Wow, go figure. But now you're going to go talk to Roland Martin like that's going to move the needle. Howard Stern. But you talk to Roland Martin and chase that up with Howard Stern, who was actually wearing blackface. Then Joe Rogan, who's partners with Dana White. Yeah, boy, you are missing all the way around. Missing the boat, whoever is on that staff. And for those of you who sat up there and said, you call yourself a political marketing strategist. I don't make all the millions that the ones that are losing right now are. However, it's our agenda that is the topic of conversation. It is mainstream news right now. Who? Black men. How'd that happen? Because somebody actually cares to look at us and hear our agenda? No. What changed? You actually have access to a different medium, a source of media that bears the truth and that honestly gives you the truth without any fluff, like this guy.
And what would that policy be? I described it on the first night of our national convention, and I've been describing it that way ever since.
Yes, you have.
It will be Jim Crow 2.0. Oh. Now, you know, I'm the 9th African American.
They can't tell you how you're going to get Jim Crow 2.0. We've had this man in office for 4 years. Now, the reason why you can have this level of conversation about Trump is because Kamala hasn't spoken to an opposition as much as Trump already did. Even in debates, having the moderators breaking their own agreement to help Kamala Harris out. So we've seen him under pressure. Today is the first and only time you really actually see her under real pressure. We thought we saw pressure under in the 60 Minutes interview. But today takes the cake, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, it absolutely takes the cake. And so let's let you hear a little more of this.
American serving Congress from South Carolina. That means there were 8 before me. The problem is there were 95 years between number 8 and number 9. And the policies of that 95 years that kept us out of government, out of this economy, is called Jim Crow. And if you look at Project 2025, it will be Jim Crow 2.0.
Okay, he again repeats the same thing, not telling you what it is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is fear-mongering. What is the message that we're supposed to get if Trump gets elected? See, what I'm talking about is the failures of this administration. Well, what I tell them is, man, this is what's going to happen if you elect Trump. That doesn't address the failures that is legitimately the root of my problem. And then you're going to sell me a thought and an idea of if he gets elected to be Project 2025, and it's going to be Jim Crow 2.0. What's crazy to me is that you are ready to go into Jim Crow 2.0 in 2024. You are not fit for leadership. For you to talk to Black America as if we should fear Jim Crow 2.0, what we are telling you is Jim Crow 2.0, hell to the no. Where's your balls at, sir? The hell are you talking about? That's slave talk. Oh, they passed, look like they made slavery legal again. I guess we best go be getting on that plantation. What the hell is wrong with you people? No. If you free, you're going to stay free, ain't you? Because they passed a law or he says this all of a sudden. And what does that say at the state of this country? If one man can turn this entire country into Jim Crow 2.0, doesn't that tell you America's a racist country? Is that not what that says? Well, it can't be both. You can't have Jim Crow 2.0 and it not be a racist country. So what is it? But we're not hearing about anti-Blackness. We're not hearing about an anti-Black hate crime bill. No, but we're worrying about, man, it's going to be Jim Crow 2.0. Well, then why didn't this administration protect the victims of Jim Crow in the first place? You had time to do it. You most definitely had time to present it. Nobody mentioned it at your catfish nugget cook-off. The Jim Clyburn catfish Hennessy Jubilee. Nobody mentioned it, huh? But why you fucking with me? Guess so.
And I am amazed at the number of people who actually are interested in contrasting that. And I think that we had a lot of success up in Michigan being able to explain that.
So when you were...
So you're telling me that you went to Michigan and tried to scare a bunch of Black folks? That what we're saying? Man, you vote this man in and all of them police that be saying is good is going to come and get you. Because again, isn't that what that says? Trump's in office, so now all of law enforcement is going to come to your house and shoot you. Well, then again, I ask you about the society we are living in. Is America a racist country or not? It cannot be both. Well, we have made strides and we have done. If one man in one election can take you back to Jim Crow, then you have made no progress. And now I have to ask you, why on earth have you been sticking to one party for 60 years? If one man from the opposite party can come into office and flip a switch and go, take us all the way back to Jim Crow, well, then why aren't there laws in place protecting people from that sort of thing? And the answer is because you didn't want to protect the people from that kind of thing, which again, America then says, Black America, especially all of you that continuously keep voting for the Democrats. If they can take you back to Jim Crow, in one term of a president, what has your party been doing for you all of this time? 60 years was not enough time to get you protection, but illegal aliens got protection. And I ain't supposed to vote for that because Orange Man is terrible. He wants to be a dictator. Yes, what he said, he wants to be a dictator on day one. But in the two things that he's going to do, one is drill, baby, drill. But the other one, hashtag fire up the jet. Now, for some of you brain dead lames, and for people who have other issues, don't get out here and start telling me, man, they ain't gonna be able to tell the difference between. There's people from all kind of countries who ain't legal here, but I live in the bastion of white supremacy, Portland, Oregon, the university, white supremacy right here. These white people out here can tell the difference between foundational Black Americans and Africans. They know the difference. I don't know what make y'all think they don't. That's insane. Of course they know the difference. These people, what is the logic in people not knowing the difference of people that they had in actual physical possession as property for over 200 years? What, 263 years? Something relative to that? And then we're in close proximity under subjection for the rest of that duration. 400 years. You think they don't know the difference between us and these other melanated people? You're way too familiar with who we are for that to even be a reality. People who come and say that typically are immigrants. We've just been so long just accepting, and everything, it's starting to now unravel, and we're starting to see all these people around us who really wasn't us. And so they do not have the same connections that we have. This dude, on the other hand, he's the other type. He's Catcher Freeman. And Catcher Freeman's is just as bad.
We're in Michigan. You said that first, you started your answer by saying you are concerned. What did you hear that makes you concerned?
Right.
When people raise questions about what does she stand for, and I tend to ask them, don't tell me what you hear, tell me what you feel.
And unfortunately, that's why you can't trust these folks. Understand what I'm talking about?
Got to watch these old niggas.
He said, don't go by what you hear. Go by what you feel. You're going to feel what she stands for versus hearing what she stands for? What sound advice is that?
What do you feel about her as opposed to what you experienced for 4 years under Trump?
Why can't I go about what I've experienced for almost 4 years under her? Why would I say what I feel about her and then say what I experienced under 4 years of Trump? Why don't I talk about the 4 years of experience with her? I'm supposed to just feel my way through it with her. This is what they're telling folks. This is the logic, people. We're not crazy to reject this. This is idiotic. And it's insulting. It is conditioning. It's a soft buck breaking. And I guess some of our people in our culture have gotten so used to that the buck breaking process in-house. I mean, because some of y'all might have family members that will tell you, hey, you know, sometimes you just got to duck your head low and smile. You know, sometimes you need to, you know, they don't need to learn how to get along with us. We need to learn how to get along with them. See, they have all the power and whatnot. So for us to get a little bit of something, see, we got to get them to like us. I played an old black preacher on this very broadcast said them words out of his mouth. We got to get them to like us. And that is the type of person that they got talking. Man, you gonna go in Jim Crow 2.0. Oh, Lord. Stop. You going?
And I have yet to find one single person that can tell me one thing that they got out of the Trump administration, except, as a few of them said to me, well, we got a stimulus check.
No, there's a huge part that everybody keeps mentioning that every last one of these people always go away from. Ain't nobody sitting up here harping, number one, on a stimulus check when they could be working right now on jobs and middle-class paying jobs that these illegal aliens are getting. That's affording them to drive brand new automobiles, deliver for Amazon, driving brand new Hondas, have to hold their phone up to you because they can't speak English. But in this city, those are the jobs. So don't tell me nothing. They got middle-class jobs. Oh, on top of that, though, they're also getting housed, food stamps, more than any citizen would ever get in this state. Let's see. All these other kind of vouchers and programs that they have for these folks. What's so funny, though, the byproduct of all of this has damn near nullified the talk of our food bank. I wonder, in your area, have you guys even heard anybody talking about food banks and food bank donations and food distribution? Have you heard anything like that? Since this whole thing has been going on, have you heard from any of those nonprofit feed the hungry people? I would have to wonder. They ain't out of business. So who's footing that bill? See, this is another thing that taxpayers need to understand. All the levels and satellite businesses that you're funding to take care of illegals. So to sit up here and act like, well, I went through Detroit, Michigan, I talked to people in Michigan. Did you talk to the black folks in Chicago? Because I guarantee you they wasn't over here just harping so hard on stimulus checks versus all of them illegals they got sitting up there, moving them into neighborhoods and opening buildings and schools that they wouldn't open for the actual citizens. Bringing them in interpreters. These are the things we've seen. Shout out to Tyrone Muhammad. And them brothers have drawn the line out there. And as you see, a lot of black Chicagoans have most, I think they're probably the loudest right now on the Trump train. They are supporting Trump. They are in active endorsement mode. And this is what you're doing. It being back, Jim Crow 2.0. For all of those years that Donald Trump was a Democrat and supporting Democrats, funding campaigns, like Hillary Clinton's first failed campaign against Barack Obama. How many of y'all that are have they ever mentioned that on the news? Do they tell you that? And all of this fear mongering about this guy and oh man, he's this, he's that. They don't tell you that he actually funded Hillary Clinton against Barack Obama. And so how Hillary got that position was like the consolation prize for her losing, with the promise that she would be next. That's why she overstepped Joe Biden to get into that position just to lose against Donald Trump. For those, there's a lot of people who haven't been in this country long enough to be talking politics. And then there's the other group of people that are too young to be talking politics. Because some of y'all was just like children. Some of y'all was like little bitty children when Barack Obama got elected. People like myself were grown adults when Barack Obama got elected. So we saw and understand a lot more, because I see people out here right now that believe Barack Obama just automatically had some kind of black pass. That's so far from the truth, it ain't funny. Without Michelle Obama being the black woman tied to the soil, Barack Obama has no campaign. So there's a lot of people that want to rewrite history and rewrite this Obama time with Black America. Barack Obama's time with Black America is only because of Michelle Obama, which is funny. You know, you guys is lucky Michelle ain't here. Really? It looks like you the one who unlucky because she ain't there. I'm just going to sit up here and say this to black men. All right, dude, whatever.
And then I said to them, don't you know that Congress appropriates money? And just because the president holds up that check until he can get his name on it, you say that you got it from him? When it was a Democratic-controlled House of Representatives and Senate that passed that bill.
You know, the funny part about that, Jim Clyburn, is as soon as the Joe Biden was in office and Kamala Harris was in office, you guys still had all of that control. Probably could have been shoring up, making sure, you know, putting things in place that we never go back to Jim Crow again, right? It's just a thought. You know, if you're saying you have that much control at the time, why didn't you guys maximize it? You had a whole Congressional Black Caucus. You got like 70 people over there. Not one out of the 70 of you, it got the novel idea that said, let's put this in protection now while we can pass this bill. No. Well, I guess we really need to keep you guys in Washington, huh?
And made those checks available. So when people get the explanation, it's a better understanding, and therefore you get a much better reaction.
And Congressman,
that's ignorant. And again, that's about all I'll play it at. Because that's where they were going. And you see that was the line a lot of people, well, they keep talking about stimulus checks and stimulus checks and stimulus checks. It's more than stimulus checks, not just the stimulus checks. It's more. And see, what they don't understand is that they don't understand civics. And because civics they don't understand, like, stop it. Always with the what we don't understand. Well, one thing I do understand. I understand how to answer a straight question. And I understand when people tell you you have a problem here, and then they just be like, ain't no problem here. Beep, beep, beep. Nope, we good. Beep, beep. Well, then, you know, you hear things for a reason. They want to say it's a vacuum. Let them tell it.
Talking to a lot of voters. And I will just say that you texted me right around the Democratic convention, and you said, I am talking to people and Kamala Harris has a problem with black men.
Yeah. And I told the campaign I did not hear from them. I mean, who am I for them to get back to me? But there's a problem. And look, I went from battleground state to battleground state when they.
And we played those videos here, those clips, to where he's saying he's going to those places. It's not, nobody forced him to go. He was just stopping to get footage and say, wait, we'll get people's thoughts on the street. And that's what he got.
Invited me to the convention. I didn't just want to fly there. I said, I'm gonna go and talk to voters in battleground states. And I did. It was not curated. I went up to people just doing man on the street. Who are you gonna vote for? Black men. And time after time after time, they said, I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Why?
Now, their reasons why, they said, because most of the time they said, well, for economic reasons, right? Or because he gave me a stimulus check. And I had to correct them over and over and tell them where that.
What's that other reason? What's the other reasons? Because we know the stimulus check is not the main thing. And they just stuck on the words of Sexy Red, which is pretty freaking ignorant. The Sexy Red came out, she talking about stimulus check. What the hell? Don't understand. Now, what Sexy Red has said is now all of black men's words. Sexy Red said the stimulus checks. All of a sudden now it's ignorant black men. That is not a black man line. That came from Sexy Red. And it's just morphed in. How do we tie it to black men? Let's get a few people out there saying it. Oh, see, this is what black men believe in America. No, we don't. And the stimulus checks, okay, we got stimulus checks. Cool. But here's the thing. Oh, yeah, and the other stimulus, where Joe Biden actually gave out 2 stimulus checks. Joe Biden gave out 1 stimulus check. He kept on schedule Trump's other stimulus check. That's why there's 2 under Joe Biden, but Joe Biden himself only put out 1 stimulus check. So these people get out here and do not come correct at all.
That stimulus check came from a Democratic Congress and from Nancy Pelosi, and that Donald Trump actually held the check up so that his name could be put on the check. So they think they got the check directly from him.
No, we understand that the president of the United States at the time of receiving this money was Donald Trump, not these Democrats. And the Democrats have done nothing to stimulate the economy. So that there's a reason why people are saying that. Then you have crazy inflation. So it's not see, people are sitting up here that I really wish that they wouldn't have even tied Sexy Red to anything, because I don't know what the hell you're asking that chick for about politics. Even asking her is crazy. But nonetheless, when people listen to her, who listens to her? And anybody that you're saying listens to Sexy Red, black folks out there, I hope you know that means that they do not respect you. They don't respect you at all. And so, yeah, you got a problem with black men because of the illegals coming in here. You got a problem with black men for all of those broken promises. And then all of these agendas that never have been addressed. And then now they say, well, I got a black agenda. It ain't nothing y'all been talking about, but this is an agenda. You know what we're going to do? We going to make weed legal. How's about that, black man? Don't you like your weed? $1 million business that white folks making money off of hand over fist. And you going to talk to us like that's a benefit to us? I'll tell you what could be a benefit if you wanted to do something about marijuana and we're going to do this. Along with the marijuana law, the legalized marijuana, you also make sure that they're not able to discriminate you for employment because of marijuana. Also, for felons, you say your first step action or your acts or whatever you did in San Francisco that you never implemented while you're in Washington. What can be done then is for felons. When you could abolish the part to where anybody has to put that out there, and for that not to be able to be used for employment or a place to live. If you want people to come back into society, you have to allow them to participate in society, meaning Got to be able to work. Got to be able to live. A safe place to stay. You understand what I'm saying? And so if you can't treat your people coming home getting introduced back into society as second-class citizens, especially when these second-class citizens in a lot of states, they just another state just proposed that inmates that are upon release, their voter rights are reinstated. Here in the state of Oregon, when you get on the other side of the gate, your voter rights are reinstated. So you can vote. So there's going to be some city or some states where politicians go to the prisons and talk to inmates who might be close to getting out. So if you have short-term prisons, because believe it or not, another network is the prison. You could reach many different people that way. So just in that, politicians might want to consider that. And I think that would go a very long way, especially for a party. But if keeping people as second-class citizens is important, then never mind. But at that, and if you're doing that, please don't attach your legalization of marijuana to what you're doing for black men. Whoever idea what that was must have also told you get your booty to the pole was a good idea. Because good grief.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden has given 1 or 2 stimulus checks as well, but they seem not to know and understand that. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for.
Right.
But if the reasons that you're going to vote for them, I think that they should be accurate and factual, and you should know why you're supporting someone.
And you are very correct, Don Lemon. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to let you hear straight from the horse's mouth what you are getting or not getting. And we're going to start with this one. Again, fair use, because this is a presidential candidate. And Fox News is asking some hard questions.
All over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries.
Influx of illegals from more than 150 countries. See, well, man, all you guys want mass immigration and blah, blah, or mass deportation. Heck yeah. 150 countries. All of those countries aren't black. All those countries aren't melanated. We have a legitimate issue. Oh, but they're just going to start rounding up. They're going to round up illegals. That's what they're going to start doing. They're going to round up illegals. And let's be clear, especially for the black, what do I say? All of the melanated immigrants. Y'all be hanging in y'all little enclaves. So why wouldn't they be able to tell the difference between us and you? We ain't over in the enclave that the government's paying for. Y'all are.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Okay, so this is 21 seconds in. This is where the question begins. The entirety of this clip is 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's see how she does.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your
And-
Homeland Security Secretary said that
Well, no,
85%
but
of
I'm not finished.
apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when
Well, no, you weren't actually answering the question. So what he did was just filibustered you and cut in with more facts substantiating the question that he actually asked you. Because for and for all of you Kamala Harris supporters and Kamala Harris, if you're watching, most of us are tired of those long answers. We know the answer's short. We do not need the long soliloquy going around the bend. Either neglect to answer the question or answer the question. But please stop wasting time out of everyone's day to hear a bunch of meaningless words that have nothing to do with the question you're actually asked. You are now being made fun of by Saturday Night Live for being that person. Liberal Saturday Night Live has to keep it a buck and be real that you are that person. Don't be more over the top than a spoof of yourself. That should be in your mind. I need to dial it back, not ramp it up, but this is y'all girl, Kay Hivers. Woo-wee, let's keep going. It's almost to a minute now, and she's working hard to avoid answering the question. This isn't just talking around it. She's fighting him to avoid answering the question.
when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S.
Let's remember how
we
they
had a
did
very
that.
busy and active day today, as you all know, but I wanted to take a moment to go through the 15 executive actions, or highlights of them, I should say, and some of the steps that the president asked agencies to take today. You should have all received copies of the executive orders as well as the accompanying fact sheets, but I want to take this moment to highlight them for the American public who are watching at home. He signed a proclamation effective immediately, halting further funding or construction of the previous administration's border wall and terminating the so-called national emergency used to wastefully divert billions for wall construction. Also today, President Biden sent an immigration bill to Congress. The U.S. Citizenship Act modernizes our immigration system. It provides hardworking people who've enriched our communities and lived here for decades an opportunity to earn citizenship. The president's priority reflected in the bill are to responsibly manage the border, keep families together, grow our economy, address the root causes of migration from Central America, and ensure that America can remain a refuge for those fleeing prosecution. With that, I'd love to take your questions. Zeke, why don't you kick us off?
So if you understand that last part, they're protecting people fleeing prosecution, then catching them here. And instead of keeping those policies of making sure they kept them in custody, they are releasing them. And then 158 Democrats voted nay. They voted against sending and deporting convicted SA offenders. They voted against deportation of these offenders. That's where the Democratic Party is. See, y'all keep trying to make this about a Kamala thing. This is a complete DNC problem. So we're looking in, and obviously the DNC as a whole will be punished for this treason. Period. And it's starting right now. The ballot box, early voting.
Citizenship Act of 2021. It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the elite. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding,
But
please?
but
You have to let me finish.
you had the
please.
White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked.
That sounds an awful lot like a border czar. Am I confused? She's saying that she is responsible for what happened at the border. For all of you who, no, man, she ain't no border czar. No, why do you keep letting them say that you're a border czar? Do you hear what she's saying? Nobody's putting words in her mouth. This isn't edited. This is her, and this is her being pressed. So now you have to hear how she works under pressure, and she told the truth. See, what he did there? He got under her skin, and then she started telling the truth. And what did she just tell you? She was aware about all that going on at the border because she said she was doing it. What? Nobody's lying on this woman. You can get it out of her own mouth. I don't know how they're gonna spin this one. But did you hear what she just said? She is telling you that these are the, so you don't even have to worry about title borders are. What she just broke down to you was the job description. Where's the missing disinformation? Come on, man. She just gave you the description of the job she just owned doing. She owned it. So yes, she's a border czar. She has told you what her responsibility was. Jeez.
On supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That,
again, why would you need to strengthen a border that didn't need it? They keep talking about strengthening the border. What border can you strengthen when you created the problems? The border was strong, was strongest under the previous president. And then you promptly came here and undid his work. How are people supposed to view that? How are we supposed to take that? Let's see. Where do I need to go next? There's a few parts here that's just, yeah, we're okay, let me go here. I just don't like my folks being duped. I just really don't.
But you call
let's not
Donald
diminish
Trump.
the significance
you
of that.
call Donald Trump He's misguided. You say now
He's
he
unstable.
is unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand.
I'm telling y'all, man, if y'all still think that she's going, oh man, she aced this. Yo, shout out to this dude for actually having the stones to ask some real questions. And not only that, though, he ain't letting her get off the hook with it. This is how real interviewing is supposed to be, how it's supposed to be. Y'all want, oh, you let him get away with those lies and blah, blah, blah. I wonder, I bet you, and I haven't seen this entire interview. I think it airs either tonight or tomorrow. But I guarantee you, well, let me not say guarantee. I would say I'm 95% sure within this particular interview at Fox News, she did not say that it's Trump's Project 2025. How much y'all want to bet? I mean, think about that. You think she really going to go up there in that space and lie like that? I bet you she didn't do it. I'm going to watch this whole thing. I'm going to see if she actually brought up Project 2025 in front of this guy. Because, woo, that would be the ender. That would sure enough be the ender. She wouldn't be able to walk down that line, so she didn't even bother. And again, from what I'm seeing so far, I'm just saying, but we'll hear all of this. Charlemagne was up there. Well, why you let him keep calling you the border czar? That wasn't even your job. Charlemagne. Did you hear what the lady just said? She just gave you her border czar description and said that was the job that she did from day one. So day one, she's responsible. I mean, don't take it from me.
You know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no.
Out of her own mouth, you know, you're responsible for what happens in your own in your administration. Damn. See a little more.
Let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
I bet you do.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president.
If the country is not on the right track, it is not because of the last 4 years have been under Donald Trump. No, it's under you and Joe Biden. You know, that guy that you just pulled a coup with, oust, and then you stabbed him in the back and took his job. You know, that guy. But also, this is the American people looking at how the country is going right now. Look at the look on her face right now. You think she's geared up to respond with an actual answer? I think not.
That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why
Wow.
are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And
Search
Donald
race
Trump has been running for office.
But you've
since-
been the person
Come
holding
on,
the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm
So she does it again. So, okay, but I asked you about you and Joe Biden. Donald Trump is running. Joe Biden's not on the ballot. Donald Trump is. Another thing they be talking about is the exchange of power or whatever. It's like there would be no exchange of power because Donald Trump is not in the White House. Transition of power. That's what will it be a safe transition of power if Kamala Harris wins? It's a transfer of power from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. What would be the problem? Donald Trump ain't there. He ain't in the White House. He would have lost in November. What on earth would he be talking about in December or January? See, the whole thing about January 6th is he was still the sitting president. This is not the same circumstance. It makes no sense with how people these Democratic shifts keep trying to scare folks with. But this is the reality, and this is what we've been telling you is there. Now, she'll tell you that, oh, well, yeah, Joe Biden was in his right mind. And she's trying to tell you now, their whole play is Donald Trump is unhinged and he's crazy and he's got dementia and this and that. While this woman and all these other Democrats sat up there and lied to the American public's face. And then she turned around and tried to do it again after besmirching Donald Trump. And then she's going to look y'all in the face in the camera and tell y'all at home, Joe Biden ain't got no cognitive decline. Boy, if he don't get out of here. Now, this is funny. And the questions that he asking her, it's not like he's asking her trick questions. These are just legitimate questions. And she's having a hell of a time answering them. Let me go back a little bit.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become,
power.
but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Clearly, it is not that clear. And so, let me see. Okay, so let me play y'all some reactions. Let me play y'all how CNN reacted.
I totally agree, Ashley. I think this strategy from Harris.
Okay, let's see. Let me back here.
Harris was a Google. I totally agree, Ashley. I think this strategy from Harris was a Google strategy. She wanted Fox viewers to start to Google some of the things she was saying because some of the comments she was making in this interview are foreign to the Fox audience. For example, General Mark Milley saying Trump is a fascist to the core. That's barely been covered on Fox News. So she was able to get some of those talking points in. This was the most adversarial interview Kamala Harris has probably ever done. Instead of getting to debate Trump again, she got to debate Brett Baer. And a lot of viewers are going to come away saying, wow, she's willing to do that. That's a sign of toughness and strength.
Yeah, it's impressive indeed.
A sign of toughness, huh? So she's willing to go get lambasted by Fox News. So she's walking out of a softball situation and willing to go there. Oh, okay. Let's check out Joy Reid on C-SPAN.
I do believe that this election is a litmus test for American tolerance for fascism. The elements of fascism are rooted in this nationalistic drive for more babies for the state, for a strongman-driven nation, and a deep sort of state-based religiosity. So I do believe we have a media problem, and we do have some of our media that is leading people toward fascism. The question of America has become too soft and feminine. I think that is it's a fascist litmus test. So this question of whether the society is too soft and feminine, it was alarming to me that a majority of Hispanic Protestants agree, but that's not shocking. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of the country. This is one of the most terrifying things that you've heard a presidential candidate say, because it is straight out of Mein Kampf. 23% of Jewish respondents agree with that, because that's straight out Nazi talk.
Notice her focus. So she's, you understand what Joy Reid's angle is? Immigrants. And so now, instead of trying to tie immigrants into black folks, she is now taking the approach to straight up try to tie immigrants in with Jewish people. Hey, y'all, we almost alike. Man, he's like Mein Kampf. He like Hitler. I mean, it's like the same effect with us. You over there trying to align yourself with them people now? Come on, man. This is why they call you Tether. Just this. And let me play y'all this. This is the guy who actually interviewed Kamala Harris. And here's
Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these.
So what ended up happening is the interview started going so badly that there were about, as you heard him say, four different people waving, saying it's got to stop. And, there is one piece that I kind of wonder if this ain't what really was the motivator for getting her out of there. Where is that? I just see it here, family. Oh, he done got under her skin for real now, Jack. Yeah, he got at her for real, family. And so we are let me get this in here. Hopefully it's downloaded. And let me get this in here. Because I'm like, yo, I've never seen her this upset. Okay. Ooh-wee. Now, with this last couple clips I'm going to play, then this is last little clip. It's like 20 seconds. But I believe this might, when you saw the energy shifting, that they had to hurry up and get her up out of there. Because, family, when have you ever seen Kamala Harris this hot?
Talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
Yeah. Boy, she pointing that finger to veins in her neck popping out of the Botox. I mean, it is going crazy in there, right? But, you know, got to kind of leave with this. Kamala Harris is a terrible candidate. Joe Biden was a bad president. Spent all of his life and his whole career trying to get to that point, finally got it and screwed it up. Now, without an election, they're trying to shake and skate and skirt democracy by installing Kamala Harris and then telling you that the person that skated democracy will now somehow be the defender of democracy. Don't know how that really makes sense. Because for her to properly represent democracy, she would have to have went through the democratic way of getting that position, to which she didn't. Joe Biden's a sitting president. He's not dead. You understand what I'm saying? So, no, she's not owed anything. And this is way more of a democracy infraction by placing her there. And then she just gets all of this support that was Joe Biden's. Nah, I ain't feeling that. And now you see where she's at. You see the other video and what she said already. And so this is the thing, because she'll talk circles and talk about all of this, what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, she already done told
So I'm
Black
not going to sit
America
here and
this.
say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
But
this is what she has for illegals.
I'm a volunteer with the Center for Worker Justice. Okay. I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one. And thank you for.
This isn't going forward. This is going back to the same failed strategy that they were pushing in the first place. This is why Joe Biden sat up there with Black leaders.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
And they sat up there, and guess who's there with them with that agenda? Kamala Harris is right there in that meeting too. So never forget that. Never forget that. And so if that's the case, y'all might say, well, I don't think that's, that ain't necessarily true. And, the Donald Trump's Republican buddies, his MAGA friends, they stopped and it's Donald Trump's fault that we have all of this mass illegal immigration. Then Kamala Harris is telling you about the legal illegals in Springfield. They entered the country illegally and then got asylum under this wacky bill that they put in day one. So when she calls them legal, let's remember, this is why the question keeps going right back to her. The CBS dude asked, Fox News asked, and there's a point there. You dismantled the border rules. This crisis is on you. And then you keep turning it around. Well, Donald Trump did this, and Donald Trump did that. Doesn't matter what Donald Trump did, because the one thing that Donald Trump did do is have all of these border securities and measures in place that you dismantled. Now we have a disaster thanks to you. Should you have done this? Well, you know, we've done this, and then come back to your other forward belt, your border policy, which is irrelevant to the question of why did you tamper with the border in the first place? And we can hear this was your agenda. Then they ask her on day one, what should she do? She doesn't want to strengthen catch, or she wants to get rid of catch and release to where it's no catch at all. You will not be housed. So yes, she's very much about releasing illegals into the population of America unchecked. So for those of y'all who don't understand, she out of her own mouth gave her the description of her job and her duties as borders are. And then for all of you idiots that talk about, man, Donald Trump, he had his MAGA friends, kill the bill. Let me help you out on a little something. The other video of Psaki that I always play tells you what happened on that day. Here you can actually see Joe Biden actually signing the bill on day one.
U.S. President Joe Biden signed half a dozen executive orders on Wednesday, reversing several of former President Donald Trump's hardline immigration policies. Just hours after his inauguration, Biden also sent an immigration bill to Congress that proposes opening a path to citizenship for an estimated 11 million immigrants without legal status. The executive actions include immediate lifting of a travel ban on 13 mostly Muslim and African countries and halting construction of the U.S.-Mexico border wall. They come as thousands of Central Americans have been on the move in recent weeks, some aiming to arrive at the U.S. border after Biden's inauguration. Biden has also directed the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Attorney General to preserve the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which protects migrants who came to the country as children from deportation. Biden also issued a memo calling for a 100-day pause on some deportations. He also ended new enrollments in a controversial Trump program known as the Migrant Protection Protocols, which forced more than 65,000 asylum seekers back to Mexico to wait for U.S. court hearings. But it did not specify what will happen to those currently enrolled, many of whom have been stuck for months in squalid tent camps near the border. The actions show that Biden is beginning his presidency with a sharp focus on immigration, just as Trump kept the issue at the center of his policy agenda, albeit from a radically different perspective. But Biden's ambitious immigration bill may face backlash from congressional Republicans. A lack of bipartisan support has torpedoed past efforts to overhaul the immigration system.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is when you first seen the immigration system created by this administration. And then after that, thought that they could put these other mechanisms in place. But right then at that time, there was 11 million illegals that they wanted to make citizens, and then opening a pathway for more people to come across the border and get a pathway to quick citizenship. And this is where we are so many years later. This is foolish. And I would have to ask you again, ask yourself, why does the people like George Soros and all of these other big interests and donors, why are they even interested in our reparations? Funding partners. Thank you to our institutional funding partners who are committed to advancing reparations and transforming philanthropy for the better. All of these different money folks trying to get in on our thing or control our thing, when our thing is literally the grassroots. So that can only say that these people are trying to control the narrative of us for nefarious means. And so don't get caught up on who is on the ballot, because sometimes you need to understand who and what is behind your candidate. Vote no to benign neglect. But for those who have known and understand now, you have successfully, the Black grassroots, you have successfully made the couch for president a thing in mainstream conversation and media. Round of applause to you. No tangibles, no vote, no black agenda, no vote. Couch for president 2024. Couch night November 5th. What's y'all plans? What's y'all plans for couch night? They know what's coming. What's y'all's plans? You're gonna have nachos, you're gonna have chicken wings, you're gonna have pizza. You know, what are you guys doing? But one last clip I have to play before I get out of here, and it's the clip that I played opening this broadcast, because I want y'all to understand what Malcolm say and what would this and that. Understand how the black consciousness has evolved, but the devil hasn't. And so understand, when you are dealing, what we're dealing with, when you are clearly God's jewels on earth, you will always be dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places. And we are seeing them. We've seen sulfur shoes come out and try to chastise Black American men. I might go through that also at some point and just break down his conversation. But you've seen those sulfur shoes come through, and now you got the lotus, old lotus flower here. Kamala, look for the alternatives of these names, because these names might also be tied into some of these certain deities that some of these major donor influence people worship. Just saying, I'm going to peep those connections, because to those type of people definitely matters. Again, spiritual wickedness in high places. You can't be in a high place without money and power and influence. So with that being said, I'm going to drop this on you real quick.
When my brother Tavis held up two papers, one a letter from the leader of the Republican National Committee, one from the leader of the Democratic National Committee. These were words from persons who are a part of the liars, the deceivers, who have promised us. And what I said in my few minutes, you're not dealing with the real powers. That man can give you a promise that he can't fulfill, because there are powers behind him that can undermine anything that he says. Go to the White House and get a promise from the president. He's not the power in America. He's a front man for power. So when you don't know who you're dealing with, you take the lies and deceit of these people into your heart. I am telling you, Black America, don't you believe the false promises of your former slave masters and their children. And that's why the Bible says we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness that is in high places. And none of us are sitting down with those boys that pull those strings. So any promise made by anyone else, don't pay it any mind.
Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. Let it fall and let us rise. Can you dig it? Oh boy, oh boy. So yeah, very interesting day in the news. This has been the weekly wrap, or been the midweek report. But I think Kamala Harris's week has been wrapped up. But we shall see how all of these talking heads and pundits try to wiggle around this. But yeah, this was a Fox News flameout by Kamala Harris. Absolutely. Absolutely. Flameout. Big L. She did not look presidential. She did not look strong. She looked frustrated. She looked triggered. And then she really looks like a liar. And for those of you out there who say, well, wait, are you going to be getting them Jim Crow 2.0? My question to you again, you going? You going to let them just take it? They won't better making change. You going? You going to let them take you? And to all of you out there who have been in the past, black men are the worst. Blame black men, and black men ain't this. Black men are the white supremacists to the black community. All you DNC shills, it was anti-black men and still are.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
And we also recognize that y'all ain't nothing but this.
Buck dancing, shuffling, scratching, bootlicking, bamboozling, Uncle Tom Negro.
And at the end of the day, we all over here are fully aware of this.
How can black people rise up and overcome?
Get out and vote?
That is incorrect. I'm sorry.
And so, with that being said, there are some of you out there that will still sit up here and say, well, I'm riding with Kamala Harris. Y'all can vote for who you want to vote for, but have you talked about Trump being a fascist, and have you talked about this and that? We have had 4 years under Trump. Let's talk about 4 years actually under him. What negative happened to Black America under Donald Trump? Name a policy that he put in place that harmed us. One policy I can tell you that did help us is he shored up the border. And his tax breaks were actually tax breaks on multiple levels. So even the working class, the poor, even got more money. So that's not about stimulus. That's about the tax cut. That's why they always say, well, they talk about they had more money, but they talk about that stimulus check. The stimulus was one-time hit. More money is meaning you had more money in your paycheck. If them words sound familiar, is because that's actually Donald Trump's words. You're going to have more money on your paycheck. Who has paychecks? The working class. Middle class gets paychecks too, but everybody who is definitely needing that check, some of these folks living check to check. What do you need? You need your money. With no games. And some of y'all are so simple to say, well, man, you can't be voting with your wallet. You got to vote with your people. She ain't my folks. She's not at all foundational Black American. She's no tie to our soul, our culture at all. Now, our soil, our culture, our heritage, she has no parts of. Well, she went to an HBCU. Right now, there is a straight Chinese-looking Asian woman who is over African studies at Howard University. That's how HBCUs are moving. So don't tell me about HBCU being the bed of Black culture. Oh no, HBCUs have turned into immigrant playground. So she was around more of her immigrant buddies. And as you can see, they all joined AKAs. You got a bunch of immigrant soul roars. Go figure. But we have more people who do not have ties to us. You know, for the life of me, I can't seem to recall what sorority Michelle Obama's part of. Funny how none of that was relevant. Now they riding on it. That's their big thing. Divine nine, she divine nine. You, she divine nine. So let me ask y'all this. With all of that blackness, and y'all can get all of these people up here to get money, but we're supposed to fear Project 2025. We're supposed to fear Jim Crow 2.0. When legitimately, he's not even pushing Project 2025, and Project 2025 has way more to do with the gay and trans communities issues and immigrations issues. Very little has to do with black. How black folks have been tied into it is because of black history being tied in with LGBTQ history and then packaged together as some kind of DIE thing. So that's where that whole thing began in the first place. So I am actually welcoming that separation again, as well as many others, rightfully so, because we don't need to be tied to your agenda. We have our own singular agenda, and we're going to stay over here minding our own black business. But you might think that I'm crazy and all of us with the sentiment is wrong, and that's the wrong position to have. Well, I can tell you, I speak for myself. Beatzilla PDX official, the Beatzilla PDX official show. Those of you in the chat, the grassroots, the voices of new black media, I'm pretty sure I am safe to say that I speak for all parties involved. And we proudly dedicate this song to you.
Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back.
And for Joy Reid and all of you worried tethers that are worried about being deported, and you understand that we are undeportable, we do not share the same issues. If they come start rounding folks up, they rounding them up. And there's another reason that y'all might want to stay here. But we got that part fixed too. That's why everybody was complaining about lineage-based reparations. But we put that in a solid position as well, and have y'all all understand. Hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Yes, indeed. Family. So again, like this broadcast, share this broadcast out. And if you have not subscribed to this channel and you're watching over on X, come on over here to the Beatzilla PDX official channel and subscribe. You know, that's what you got to do. You got to come over here, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, hit the word all. That way you'll be notified anytime this channel goes live or a video is uploaded. And I think that's about it. Now, what I do want to tell y'all is make sure y'all follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. Also, you can email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And if you feel so inclined to put some money in the bucket, you could do so by way of CashApp. That's $ beatzillapdx. And we also have PayPal, which is Zilla Music. And that's ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. And another way that you can support this channel is by being a member of this channel. And with that being said, right now, we are going to shout out our members. We next, aka Dark Skin Brother in the house. Yes, indeed. Black Anthem, Dark Skin Brother's main page, Cult-like Personality, Antithesis, Judah Israel, Key Prince, Crew Reality Grand Negus, Faith Speaks Life, Lady Effa, Black Spider, and Deneen Soul. And thank you to all of my members. Salute to each and every one of you. Thank y'all for being members. I appreciate all of you. And that being said, we'll get ready to get on up out of here. So keep your notification bells turned to all. That way you know you don't miss nothing, because If you're on X, you're going to miss it. You might see a posting of it. But for those who are over here on the channel, they're going to get it and get the premiere, and you'll see all the people in the chat and all of that going on. So if you want to participate, got to get over here to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Beatzilla PDX Official. So with that being said, till next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Have a blessed one.
When you know who Satan is, yes, sir, you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth. Yes. See, that's what you throw. Yes, right. Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains. Every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.